Bible explicitly mentions other gods existing alongside Yahweh in multiple places, and in Psalm 82, God literally stands in an assembly of divine beings and condemns them to death for failing to rule justly, because early Judaism wasn't actually monotheistic. It was monolatrous, meaning they worshipped one God while acknowledging that others existed, and the evidence is still right there in the text if you know where to look. This is one of the most suppressed facts in biblical scholarship. And most people have no idea because it fundamentally challenges everything they were taught about the Bible. The Old Testament preserves fragments of an earlier polytheistic cosmology where Yahweh was one God among many in a divine council ruled by El, the high God, and understanding this completely changes how you read the Bible. Let's start with the names. In Genesis, God is called different things in different passages. Sometimes it's Elohim, which is actually plural meaning gods. Sometimes it's El Shaddai. Sometimes it's Yahweh or the Tetragrammaton. For centuries, scholars assumed these were just different names for the same deity. But comparative mythology and archaeology revealed something else. El and Yahweh were originally separate gods from different Canaanite pantheons who got merged together as Judaism developed. El was the chief deity of the Canaanite pantheon. He was the creator god, the father of the gods, who presided over the divine council. He's described as ancient, wise, and living on a cosmic mountain. His symbols were the bull and the father figure, while Yahweh was originally a storm and war god, possibly from the region of Midian or Edom. His symbols were the warrior, the mountain, fire, and lightning. He was associated with Mount Sinai and divine violence. And the part that I think is just crazy is that early Israelites worshipped both. Over centuries, the two deities merged. Yahweh absorbed El's characteristics and became both the warrior god and the creator god, but the Bible still preserves traces of when they were separate. Now, Psalm 82 is the smoking gun. It says, God stands in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? You are gods, sons of the Most High. All of you. Nevertheless, you shall die like mortals. Read that again. God is literally standing in an assembly of other gods. He's judging them for failing to rule their assigned nations justly, and he sentences them to death, saying, you shall die like mortals. This ain't no metaphor. This is not angels. The Hebrew word used here is Elohim, gods. Yahweh is one God among many, and he's condemning the others for corruption. Now, Deuteronomy 32:8-9 is even more explicit in older manuscripts, saying, when the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God. But Yahweh's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted heritage. So the Most High, El Elyon, divided up humanity and assigned each nation to a different deity. Yahweh got Israel. The other gods got the other nations. This is literally divine territorial assignment. And here's honestly what should piss you off. Later Hebrew scribes tried to obscure this by changing sons of God to sons of Israel in some translations. They literally edited the text to hide the polytheistic origins, but the original preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls clearly says divine beings. You should be concerned that people change the Bible to fit their theology instead of dealing with the original text. Genesis 1 uses Elohim, the plural gods, but with singular verbs suggesting either a merged deity or a divine council speaking collectively. Genesis 1:26 says, let us make man in our image. Who is the us? Traditional interpretation says it's the royal we or God talking to angels, but in context of Near Eastern cosmology, it's the divine council. Job 1 and 2 show Yahweh meeting with the sons of God, divine beings who report to him. Satan is one of them, acting as a kind of prosecuting attorney in the heavenly court. This is the divine council in session. Exodus 15:11 asks, who is like you, O Yahweh, among the gods? Not there are no other gods, but which God compares to you? It's competitive monolatry. Psalm 89:6 and 7 says, for who in the skies can be compared to Yahweh? Who among the sons of God is like Yahweh, a God greatly to be feared in the council of the holy ones? Again, Yahweh is the most powerful in the council, but not the only God. And what about the first commandment? You shall have no other gods before me only makes sense if other gods exist. It's not saying other gods are fake, it's saying don't worship them. Choose Yahweh exclusively. Now, most people don't realize this completely changes the meaning of monotheism in the Bible. So what in the world happened? Well, over centuries, as Israel developed monotheism, the divine council got reinterpreted. The other gods became demons, fallen angels, or pure mythology. Yahweh absorbed El's role as creator and high god, and the polytheistic past got buried under monotheistic editing. But the text still preserves fragments. The divine council became the angels, the sons of God became the heavenly host, but originally, these were gods, lesser than Yahweh by the end of the Old Testament period, but still divine beings with real power and assigned territories. And this completely explains why Israel kept falling into idolatry. They weren't crazy, they were just continuing the older polytheistic practices where you could worship Yahweh as your primary god while still acknowledging Baal, Asherah, and others. The prophets fought for centuries to establish exclusive Yahweh worship. And yeah, it connects directly to Gnosticism too. The Gnostics looked at these passages and said, see, Yahweh is one God among many under El Elyon the Most High. He's the demiurge who claimed to be ultimate but isn't. They were reading the older polytheistic layer of the text that mainstream Judaism had reinterpreted. So yeah, the Bible explicitly describes a divine council, multiple gods, and Yahweh as one deity among many who eventually claim supremacy. And understanding this completely recontextualizes the Old Testament, the origins of Judaism, and why the Gnostics interpreted Yahweh the way they did. So if you want to learn more about biblical esotericism and suppressed theology, make sure to like the video, drop your comments below for me, and follow for more deep dives like this. Till next time.